Welcome to Kelly Minds Her Manners, a podcast about real estate and entrepreneurship with a twist. Here's your host, Kelly Robinson.
Hey there, welcome to another episode of Kelly Minds Her Manners. Today, I have António Félix Rizz with me. He is a real estate agent in Lisbon, Portugal, and he was previously a wine producer. He now mentors young agents on how to be better versions of themselves. And he has his own podcast, which I love, called Odd Tales in Real Estate. And it's all about crazy real estate stories. You should definitely check it out. It is really fun. And the episodes are pretty short, so easy to listen to. The latest episode, he talked about selling stigmatized properties, like the property Jeffrey Dahmer owned. So it's really interesting. We have a lot of fun with our conversation today, and I can't wait for you to hear it and for you to hear his answers to my fearless five. So please welcome António Félix Rizz. So António, thank you so much for being on Kelly Minds Her Manners. I'm really excited to speak with you today. I was really excited when we found you because you, first of all, you have a great personality and sense of humor. And I always love speaking with other real estate professionals around the world because things are so different from where I am. And I love to find out what's different. And I also am dying to hear some of your stories. So let's get started.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for this conversation. It's amazing. Internet has these good things, right? We can connect overseas and so quickly, and it's really amazing. So thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I love that. I love that we live in the age of technology and we can connect. I was just in Europe a couple of days ago, but not in Lisbon. So soon.
Have you ever visited Lisbon?
Not yet. It's on my list. It's on my list for sure. I've heard it's unbelievable. So it must be a really beautiful and exciting place to do business.
You know, in Portugal, we have two major cities, Porto and Lisbon. And I was born in Porto. And culturally, there's this big, let's say fight between Porto and Lisbon people. And since I started to feel more in love with Lisbon, I can never tell this to my people in Porto because I don't like it. But Lisbon has this power to make people fall in love. And I meet a lot of people every day. And most of them, after they visit, they want to come back again. And when they come back for the second or third time, afterwards, they really want to move.
Yeah, that's interesting to hear. Yeah, and it's true. Like, how does your family feel about you being in Lisbon when you were born in Porto? Are they still in Porto?
So I was born in Porto, and then my parents moved to Viseu. It's a little town up north, central north. And I used to say that for those who don't know where Viseu is, if you imagine the human body on the map of Portugal, Viseu is where the heart is. It's really And so I grew up there in this little town, 5 times smaller than Lisbon in terms of people, just nearly 100,000 people there. But my family always knew that I was kind of the rebel of the family. So it's no surprise for them that I traveled a lot and I also moved places. And for example, I moved in Brazil a few years ago for a few months.
I saw that.
I planned this for a year, but I only told my family the week before I moved.
Well, at least they speak Portuguese there, so
Yes, it's true.
So that must have been an easy transition. I mean, there's always culture shock no matter where you go, even if you speak the same language. But I have a lot of questions. So first of all, why are you the rebel?
Because I never followed all the rules as they told me to.
Okay.
So for example, I was always very critique, even at school. I was the kind of student that didn't say yes to the teachers, but asked them why all the time.
Oh.
And culturally speaking, Portuguese don't like to be annoyed in this kind of sense. And for a student to, let's say, challenge the teachers like this, it was never disrespectful, of course, But to some old-minded people, it could feel like a challenge. Why is a student challenging the teacher? But it was really out of pure curiosity. Like, why are they telling me this is this way? And I have the right to ask why, right? So this is what I was doing all the time. And my parents got asked to be at school to speak with the teacher, like, what is going on? But it was really never disrespectful. But I kind of sensed that my family always knew that I was, never going to be the let's say the sheep that follows all the group. Yeah.
I hear you.
So,
but you know what? That probably made you a great salesperson, because it's always good to answer a question with a question.
Absolutely. I was reading this book. It's a classic. It's How to Make Friends and Influence People.
I love that book.
It's great, huh? It's a Bible. And one of the principles that for people to fall in love or for them to connect with us, it is to speak about their interests. And how can I know about them if I don't ask questions, right? So this is one of the first triggers, let's say.
That book changed my life I read it when I was a lot younger, and I'll occasionally go back to it. I've made 2 of my team members read it and write me book reports.
Good. I love it.
And I graded them like a teacher. I have no right to grade anybody, but I thought it'd be funny.
I was managing a team at some point, actually for 1 year and a half or less. I think I know what you mean about grading. It's really because when we feel that we are being evaluated, it puts a little extra pressure for us to be also able to tell the story, right? To tell it in the way that the other person will understand what we have to say. Because if I read something and it's just for me, okay, I have my own vision. But if I know that I will have to pass this information to someone else, I have to prepare in the way that the other person will understand the message that I want to say. So I understand the grading thing.
Yeah, it makes sense. So, okay, what took you to Rio?
So I met a person. And so we were dating, me and this girl, and we were in the last year of our bachelor's degree in marketing in Viseu. And there was this opportunity to go to Rio for an internship. And it was kind of, the summer love part and also the learning. So I took the challenge. It was great times. I was there 3-4 months, but life there goes incredibly fast. And just so you understand, I was working 4 days a week, and 2 of them I was living around 70 kilometers away from the company that I was working at, and the other 2 days I was living nearby. So I was always kind of, moving, changing. And it was the year before the Olympic Games. It was 2015. And it was chaotic. The traffic, a lot of people, it's 6 million people. For me, it was a big shock to see how it is possible to have so many people in the same place, and all the transport, all the cars, buses, trains, everything is completely full. Yeah. So, and the traffic was really chaotic. And I was going from home. I left home around 4:30 in the morning to be able to catch 2 or 3 buses and then a metro to be at the company at 9.
Oh my God.
Then going back home at night was the same. There was really not much time to sleep, but it was an incredible experience.
Yeah. Okay. And when did you start producing wine?
Oh, I started producing wine as soon as I got back from Brazil. So
okay, so it wasn't when you were down in Brazil. It was after.
No.
Okay.
I had this idea already because when I was going out at university, I was the only one in my group of friends to order wine. And in some bars, there was this particular bar in Viseu that all the rooms are closed. It was a building actually converted into a bar. And we would book one of these rooms for me to give lectures to my friends.
I love that.
I was kind of educating them very informally, of course, nothing snobby whatsoever. Actually, my point was to make wine appealing to everyone. And I always had this idea that I want to make something that makes my friends and other people start enjoying wine, because it's a beautiful product that nature gives us, and people put a lot of effort into it. It's like poetry in a bottle. So I really wanted to spread this word. And so when I was giving these little lectures to my friends, I started bringing in and brainstorming. I always wanted to be a creator of things that people can either learn or consume or use. So when I was in Brazil, I was already preparing some ideas. And actually, when I came back, I got together with I was pitching this idea to a teacher and some colleagues. And one of the teachers put me in touch with another colleague of mine who also wanted to do something about wines. And he was coming from France, so he also had the knowledge. Mm-hmm. So we combined both visions and we started the Desire, which was a wine that we produced during 2 or 3 years. It was sweeter, lighter in terms of alcohol, only 7%, a little bit sparkling, very fresh. Oh. And it was a very sexy marketing that we did. We wanted to target women majorly, but in the way that the man has to follow, because it would be like a gift, or if he orders, he will order as well. Or
smart.
So we did this. Yeah. So it was actually my first company that I started. It was this. I did some freelance before for about marketing, but this is how I got into wines. I really wanted to do something in wines, and I did it. And after a while, our visions, we were really young, and the vision that I had for the business was not exactly the same as my partner. So after a while, we split. We are very good friends still. We just don't have this business together anymore. Right. But it was great learning, and it's part of the experience.
I bet. So do you still do anything with wine other than drink it, or do you? You only drink it. What is the best bottle of wine you've ever had?
Oh, this is the toughest question.
I know.
It really is. I never knew how to answer this.
I know. And it's hard.
When people ask me this and I don't know how to answer, I feel like a fraud. But there's this wine that I've been drinking. It's actually from the producers are the parents of a friend of mine. It's called the Roche des Bons. It's from Burgundy, France. Wow, it's really, really. It's a smaller production, very high quality, very controlled, amazing wines. But in Portugal, we have really good wines, and the price is incredible.
I'm there. I'm on the next flight.
Yeah. And but other than you were asking me about if it was the only relationship I had with the wine, I also did some radio shows I was giving little lectures or demystifying myths about wines back in Viseu in a local radio show. I also wrote a blog about wines. It's like an encyclopedia, let's say, very informal. It's for those who don't understand wine and want to learn. So it's the first step Bible, let's say. Also, there's a lot of myths, truths, and false things, and so for people to understand.
Well, people get intimidated by it because they feel like they have to be a connoisseur, and wine is like art. It's subjective. It's whatever you like. Exactly. Somebody could be like, oh, I smell grass and berries and some dark chocolate, and I could be like gym sneaker, and it's like the same wine, and it doesn't. Neither of us are wrong. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously, wine smells like what's grown around it, but I feel like what you did is really good because so many people are intimidated by it. No, you don't have to be intimidated by it. You don't have to be a connoisseur.
Absolutely. And it starts in a restaurant, for example. There's always this ritual of having. I mean, I understand and I respect it, but when I was producing, I was like, we as producers, we dedicate the life to the vineyards, bottling the truth. It should be simpler than that. It should be, of course, it's not like drink a bottle of water, but it should be simpler because, especially for those countries that are culturally producers of wine, like we call it the old world, is majorly the Europe. So Portugal, France, Spain, Italy, these countries where it's so common and so rooted, even in the families. All my friends have their grandparents producing a few bottles of wine every year. So it's really cultural. And then there's this opposite side that it's so snobby and so complicated and very elitist, let's say. But I believe that all these 10 years that have passed, I see that it becomes more democratic. It becomes more common for people to enjoy it. There's still this ritual of making it super, fancy.
Yeah.
But I think it's still a way to go. It also makes it special. But I believe that there's still some ways to explore it in the sense that it shouldn't scare new drinkers, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's becoming more approachable for sure. Okay, so what changed? Why real estate? What made you go into real estate?
So after I closed the business, the wine, I always have, I still have great relationships with clients. And I started telling the biggest clients that I had that I was closing the company and there was not going to be more wine for them. And one of them was starting to be the new manager of a chain of restaurant and bar in Viseu. And he challenged me to be the new PR for because he wanted to change. There was a bad name attached to this chain. So they wanted to clear out, have new customers. And he challenged me to this. So I started, and for a few months I did it. And when I felt that the mission was accomplished, like it was a renovated atmosphere, new ambience, new customers, very elegant again, I felt the mission was done and I wanted to move to something else. I never liked the idea of being stuck and unhappy. I was not unhappy. I just felt like my job here is done. If now they just need to continue the good job. And I didn't see myself doing that for so long. For me, it was like a project. And again, I started to tell my biggest clients that I was leaving. And when I told this to one of the clients that I had, he was a manager of a local real estate agency. And again, he pitched me the idea, you know what, you should come work in real estate. I think you would do a great job. It's you meet people every day. You are very empathetic. So I think you have a place. And I never thought about it. I mean, I kind of have a relationship with real estate back when I was younger, because I saw my grandparents build houses and I was, seeing I saw how they did my house, for instance. I followed every step. I also wanted to miss school. So to see how they installed the windows. And so I was making up excuses to not go to school to see how they build houses. And all these years after, when I had when this client pitched me to do it, I said, well, I have nothing to lose. It's true. So let's see. And in everything that I do in life, I like to commit fully %, because otherwise it's not me and it doesn't make sense. Because I don't want to be losing my time, and I don't want others to be losing their time with me. So I put all the effort, and it's been 5.5 years now. After it's actually interesting because it's, at least in Portugal, and I believe a little around the world, is one of the professions that has the most rotation of people. Right?
Yeah, it is. It is very transient profession.
Yes. So after a few months of me trying to close deals, I had 5 in the pipeline that fell. And some people told me, you know what, maybe this is not for you. It's, maybe you cannot do this. Maybe you should rethink yourself. And I felt like, first of all, I'm not going to listen to anyone who is out of the process. So I'm going to do this introspection and analyze each one of these potential deals. Why did they fall? It's because of me or something that I cannot control. And I found that in all of them, everything that was in my power, I did it. And I delivered and it was done. Just they fell because of reasons that I really could not control.
Yeah.
So I felt like my job was done. And so it's not my problem. I had bad luck, let's say.
Yeah.
So
that happens.
Yeah, exactly.
And you
got we still go through this We still go through this every month that some bill can fall, whatever.
Of course.
But it was just, that they call it beginner's luck. And in my case, it was beginner's unluck, because all those 5 deals that would make up or pay back all the effort that I was doing, they fell and suddenly nothing is on the table. But again, I never liked to listen to others just because they have an opinion. Of course, I respect, but I also do my analysis. And so I didn't give up, of course. And then things started to happen again, and I'm still very happy.
Now, would you say you're grateful for those 5 deals that fell apart? Because
absolutely.
Okay. Why?
First of all, it also relates to my story of life. My life was never super easy. And I say a lot this to people, that the bad things that you went through yesterday, they help building the strength that you have. I think there's a quote about this, actually. So I believe that everything bad or less good, let's say, that happens to people, it should be seen as a learning and not as a put down. Yeah. At least me, I always look at those things as, you know what? This is a good learning. Maybe next time I don't do this way, or I will be more cautious with this or with that. So everything I looked, it's hard in the beginning and it puts you down. But I always had this sense that the bad it's not to stay bad all the time. And I always try to convert it into a learning. So it's something good. I'm always learning. I love being learning every day. And for me, those 5 deals falling in the beginning were absolutely, I think it was the perfect start. If it was too easy, maybe I would think this is not for me.
I hear you. And I agree with you 100%. And now you are mentoring other agents to become great agents, right? And you also, your company just won a whole bunch of awards, I saw. So congratulations on that. That's really exciting. I noticed a common thread from you teaching about wine to now you mentoring other people. So is that something that you're passionate about?
I'm really passionate about growth. Either it's mine or the growth that I help others have. And when there's something that I really love to learn and to talk about, I like to share it with other people. And it happened in the wines. Friends still come to me to ask how I'm going to have a dinner with my girlfriend. Which wine should I bring? Or I'm meeting her parents, this kind of thing. And I absolutely find it very, very nice. And I'm flattered that they trust me with this. And in real estate is not different. I really love what I do. Absolutely 100%. And I never felt as happy as I am doing anything else, because I also feel that in real estate, I can be fully 100% myself. I know in some jobs you have a character and you have to play that character. In real estate, I can be more flexible. And of course, with some clients, I'm more this person or that, but I'm the real me all the time. And when I have the chance to help the other agents, the new agents, especially when they have a question or when they want to shadow a day with me, I do it really passionately.
That's awesome. So you also just started your own podcast, Odd Tales in Real Estate.
It's true.
And I love this. It's about stigmatized properties.
Thank you.
And it's so interesting. You clearly are a marketing genius. Like, you understand what people want, from the name of the wine to this subject in real estate. People are dying for this type of information. So tell me, first of all, do you specialize in stigmatized properties?
No.
Okay.
Stigmatized homes is actually the last episode that launched yesterday. But the whole concept of Odd Tales in Real Estate is really to tell stories that happen in real estate, either with me or other colleagues or other people that I hear, even clients. And it happened because a few months ago, I couldn't sleep. And when I cannot sleep, I need to be doing something else that is productive. Okay. So I started, wondering about life, and I felt like, wow, in real estate, a lot of cool things happen, and also a lot of weird stuff. can happen. So I ran to my laptop and I started writing, a few memories that I had from past deals or from friends that told me, this happened with my purchase or whatever.
Yeah.
And also reminding things that happened with me and clients. And I felt like it could be nice to tell this to people.
People
it doesn't
always
need to
ask.
be. Yes, and it's small stories, so you can listen when you're going to work. It's not. I don't want it to be, too dense. Just to share what happens in real estate. So I have more than 100 stories already ready to be recorded.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear all of them. I listened to a few of the little clips. What is your oddest tale in real estate?
So one of them, okay, the oddest. I think I posted it already. I recorded it. So I was at this showing to an investor, and I was showing an apartment that it was rented to 8 or 10 students. There were 8 bedrooms in the house, in the apartment. And it was near the university. So all these apartments are sold to investors, never or almost never to families. So it was another casual day showing an investment. And we walk into one of the bedrooms and we see 3 things that I didn't know how the buyer would react.
I've been there.
So we see, I can say this, right?
Yeah.
I saw 3 dildos in the bedroom. One in the floor, like lying there, another one in the bed, another one in the shelf. And the investor is standing like this, like, should I go in? Should I not? And I tried to maintain super calm and super professional. I was like, I really didn't know how he was feeling. I said, you know what? I'm so sorry. Let's just go to the balcony and see the view because it's actually nice. And when we are coming out of the bedroom, the investor goes back. He grabs one of the dildos and he says, can I bring this with me? I was like, what? And then he tells me, it's because I've been looking for one of these to do a prank on a friend of mine.
That's hilarious. But who wants to use dildo?
I don't know.
That's really funny.
And so eventually he didn't buy the property, but we laughed ourselves so much with that. And actually, in other visits with this same buyer, he was bringing this topic all over the time, all over again. Like, should we go there? Is there another dildo in there? I think this was the most. It was kind of scary at the same time because I really didn't know how people can react to these things.
Yeah, I had a similar experience where I walked into a property that was for sale and it was being rented by somebody who's actually pretty well known, so I won't say her name. And her anal beads were on the bed. And I went into the bedroom and I was like, I saw them and I was like, and this is the living room. And I closed the door and I was like, oh my God, like this was just crazy. And, but
people are happily living there.
It's usually tenants and not sellers who have those things lying around, or like a big, table full of drugs, that type of a thing. I get it.
See it all.
Yeah, we'll have to talk because I have some fun stories too. We can trade stories in real estate. So you don't specialize in stigmatized properties.
No.
What is the market in Lisbon like right now, and how did COVID change it? So
when COVID started, and I don't know if this is cultural, but in Portugal, we are negatives. I'm not, but Portuguese are negative. And when something happens, like when COVID started, everyone was saying, wow, the market is going to crash. It's the end of the world, blah, blah, blah. And we saw the prices going up. The prices were still going up because obviously a lot of people decided not to sell their properties, but other people still wanted to move. And there's a lot of investors who live on buying and selling and renting out their properties. So the market has to be fluid, has to run.
Yeah.
And so we didn't see prices going down as much. Obviously, when we speak about real estate, we need to speak about location all the time. And those less attractive locations, obviously they have more negative impact. But in the areas where the price per square meter was already high, for example, in Santo Antonio, that is right now the most expensive neighborhood in Lisbon, where prices are now in the average 8,000 euros per square meter. So it's between the used and the new developments. New developments are selling for 12, for example, 12, 15,000. So we have this average of 7,000-8,000 per square meter. And the prices there, they kept increasing with COVID, during COVID times. And now everything is still going up. And I don't know if it's really because Lisbon is so attractive, but I saw, for example, in Viseu, where I was doing real estate before coming to Lisbon, I was selling there apartments, a new development apartment with 140 square meters, roughly 1,300 square feet, I believe. And I was selling those for less than 190,000 euros. So let's say $200,000.
Yeah.
Now, after 3 years that I left, or 2.5 years that I left, those are selling for 300, 350.
Yeah.
So it's a big increase. And in Viseu, it's not a foreigners market. It's just locals. There's a few families that come from Brazil, for example, but they don't buy a lot. They rent the most. So it's a locals market. And so this just goes to say that even with COVID, things kept going pretty well in prices. And there was records after records in prices. So the market was not bad. There was just less transactions being done because most people were not buying or they decided not to sell, but there's still transactions being done. And now, of course, prices are still going up very, very much, more or less 10% every year.
Wow, that's a lot. So, and did COVID change the industry at all? Like here, we were very antiquated, and it really forced us to become more technology focused. Is that
it happened the same here? We had at that time. Now it's different because nobody's speaking about COVID anymore. But in those times, sellers were more cautious, and buyers told me a lot of times, you know what, go there first. We FaceTime, and if we like it, then we go to do a visit. So this was the first technology change. And actually in COVID, I sold 3 properties FaceTiming. And it was the first time I ever did it.
Yeah.
But I was super like, are they really liking? Is my phone capturing all the angles? Is it, I was super afraid because I didn't want for them to buy something that they never saw for me. And they were families, not investors. They were really buying the new home for them. So for me, it was hard to be on board with this. I'm super technology enthusiast. Even at Seed, we are always looking for new ways to be more efficient, and efficiency goes a lot through technology. But I would say that more transactions were done over the phone, over video. Also, I think this was the major change.
Yeah.
And I think it's not because of COVID, but because of all this international vibe going in Lisbon. A lot of buyers from outside, also other companies, franchises coming to Portugal. The way that we are doing real estate, at Seed, we started this innovation when we started our company, but we see other franchises, like those that are very well established everywhere. They also, their agents, if they cannot change inside, a lot of them are changing to other companies where they find these innovations.
Yeah, you need it. That's what your buyers and sellers want. So, and it makes your job easier.
I was today with a developer from India, and he was asking me, how about open houses? How do they work in Portugal? Because we have a lot of partners in the US, and they sell half of the new developments in the first open house party. And I was telling him, it's not so cultural here yet. And the open houses that I throw, it's more, I'm not counting on the sale of this property right there. because it's not rooted in our culture in Portugal.
Right.
So there's a long way to go, but I throw these events as a way to network. And actually, it's not the first time that from one of my open houses, there's another property being sold by two agents who met there, one from our company, another one from another brokerage. So this for me, it's perfect because it's business being done through these events. And ultimately, of course, we generate leads or we generate more viewings afterwards. But there's a long way to go. And open houses is one of the marketing strategies that I really want to be developing more to change how we do real estate in Portugal.
I like that. So when you are mentoring new agents, what is your best piece of advice that you give them?
You need to use your calendar every day. If it's not in the calendar, it doesn't exist. I tell them this all the time.
Yeah.
So if you have something to do, please write it down on the calendar, because a lot of this, and I didn't have this when I was doing something else. I never used my calendar for anything. But now I use it even for my friends when we go out on dinners. I send them very cool invitation. They love them. But it really helps me being organized, first of all, because when we come to real estate, there's no schedules, there's no paycheck in the end of the month. You are fully independent. You are the owner of your own company. Yeah. And the first way to be organized is to know what you can do and which times you can do it. So this is my first piece of advice. Please use your calendar every day and read every day. Read about the market, we don't need to be specialized in all the things that matter in real estate, but we should be really informed, because if a buyer comes to you to ask, is the market going down, or should I buy now because it's going very up, or a seller asks you, should I take this offer or not? If you don't know the market, and if you didn't hear if the market is good or prices are fluctuating or whatever, if you don't know the information, you can never be an advisor. And ultimately, we are advisors to our clients. That's why they pay us. And it's why they come to us, because we are not going to be just opening a door. We are going to provide an advice for them to do their choices. So staying informed all the time and be super organized, because it's very easy to be lost. Because again, there's no schedule, there's no boss to say you need to be in this time or this here or there. So it's very easy to be lost. So organizing this way.
I agree with you. I put everything in my calendar: bathroom breaks, dog walks, like you name it, it's in there. And because you're right, time blocking is so important for somebody who's an entrepreneur or an independent contractor. You don't have a schedule. So I have my whole team has to put their stuff in the calendar too. So my assistant can see where everybody is, or my director of operations. And it's, it's so important. And Absolutely. I love that you say that. Okay. So now it's time for my Fearless 5. Are you ready?
Super ready.
Okay.
And super curious.
Okay. So this is one that I ask most people because I love hearing all the different answers. So what is one thing that you think most people value in life that you don't necessarily value or subscribe to?
This can vary from time to time or where you are in life, right? But I would say right now is, so I'm 30 years old and I have a lot of friends of mine that are creating their families, and I don't feel this calling for now. I'm really super focused on my professional path, and this is where I want to be investing my time. So I'm not looking I'm not valuing so much the personal family side right now as I see other people are doing.
Right. Well, you're still very young.
For the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, for the moment. I mean, look, if you move to New York, men don't get married until they're 50, so you got time. But no, I think that's good. It's great to build your castle and then bring in your queen.
That's true. This is how I want it to be.
Yeah, well, I respect that. Okay, number 2, penthouse or townhouse?
Penthouse.
Okay.
Because I love views more than outdoor areas.
Okay, so you like
I
a
want to see
cityscape.
view.
Cityscapes or water? What do you prefer, like with your views?
City.
City? You like the lights at night, right?
Yes.
So you know what? Men love lights at night. I don't know why. I find this all the time in New York City. Like the wife wants a townhouse or something charming. The man just wants the views.
Yes.
It's amazing.
I think it's biological that we feel that when we are seeing lights, it means that we are higher.
I like that analogy.
And I think it has to be with how we are culturally and socially prepared. Like we have to be constantly climbing, and when we are able to see all these lines, it means we are high. So we are doing it. We done it. We did it. I mean,
I love that. I love that. Number 3, is your bed made right now?
It is.
I have to give you.
I never leave the house without doing
I love that. That is, you know what? That is so important. I feel the same way. If I don't make my bed, I feel like my whole day is chaotic. You know, yes. I don't know why.
But you know, this is funny because when I was younger, and I spent a lot of my childhood with my grandparents, and my grandmother could never leave the house without having the bed super tidy. And even if there was a lazy day where we had to run or leave the house and there was no time for that, at night she comes, before she goes to bed, she still does the bed before she goes to bed.
Oh my gosh.
I don't, and I never understood this thing when I was younger, but I feel like I want to return to the home because the day is so, buzzing all the time, super stressful, and I want to come home to be like my sanctuary where everything is tidy, and I feel like I can relax now.
I'm right there with you. I love that. Okay. So number 4, if you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
What advice? Wow. It's a really hard question because there's two things I would say to myself.
Okay.
The first is, and I think I heard this somewhere, it's when you are not satisfied is when you grow. And I say this, I also tell this to my agents when I'm telling them my story, is I feel afraid when I'm too safe. When everything is super safe, I feel like there's nothing more to do and I get super creeped out. So what I would say to me is when we are growing to be better and better and better and to reach a point that we are really good. But what I would say to myself is never be too good because then you cannot grow more. So I would say something like this.
I like that. That's great advice. So I think I might know the answer to this question, but you might surprise me. Are you a dip the toe in kind of ease your way into the water person, or you cannonball, just dive right in?
Can I know what is the answer that you think that I'm going to do?
No, you have to tell me first, and I'll tell you if I'm wrong.
So I told you I'm the rebel, but when it comes to certain things, I'm a bit old-minded.
Okay.
And by old-minded, I don't mean wrong. I just follow what my grandparents were telling me when I was younger at the beach, like go easy because you don't want to cause yourself thermal shock. You say this in English?
Yeah.
So I go, I go, easy. Also to enjoy the ride, right?
Yeah. I actually thought you were going to be a dive right in person. I thought that, but see, that's why I ask these questions because you never know. You can always be surprised by the answer. I love it. I love it that you are a go-getter, but you also take your time with things. Those are two good qualities to have. It's balance.
Yeah. So. Now that I think about it, yes.
Yeah. So thank you so much for being on the show. Everybody should listen to your podcast called Odd Tales in Real Estate and Instagram handle, Felix Rizz. So we'll put that in the show notes as well as your website in case anybody wants to find you. And thank you so much. Really, I had a lot of fun. Yeah, me too. It was so great to talk to you and I can't wait to talk to you again.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Have a wonderful day.
Have a great day. You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for watching and listening to Kelly Minds Her Manners. Make sure to subscribe to the show and don't forget to leave us a review to tell us what you liked about the episode. You can connect with Kelly at Kelly Minds Her Manners on Instagram and TikTok or on our website, www.kellymindshermanners.com.